Hello, podcast family. In this bonus episode of the Design Break podcast, we're diving back into our profitable pricing mini series to explore a crucial topic: why you shouldn't charge $10,000 for a logo. Now, this is not just about branding. This goes to pretty much every single other type of creative field, from web design to illustrations, lettering, and things like that. But if you haven't had a chance to listen to the previous episode in this mini series, I highly recommend going back and giving them a listen. They provide valuable insights into different pricing models for freelancers and small design agencies. In today's episode, we're going to be addressing the misconceptions surrounding high pricing recommendations and why blindly following such advice can be detrimental to your freelancing career. We'll discuss the importance of assessing your skill level, realistically setting fair pricing based on your expertise, and avoiding the trap. This is a big trap of faking it till you make it. It's all about establishing a pricing strategy that aligns with your actual abilities and delivers value to both you and your clients. So whether you're a seasoned freelancer or just starting out, this episode will provide valuable insights to help you navigate the world of pricing and ensure you're charging what you're worth. So without further ado, let's dive into why charging $10,000 for a logo may not be the right approach. Now, first off, for those of you who are watching this video podcast, I do apologize if I am looking at my script and everything like that. I'm going to figure out a better way of doing this, but until I get a teleprompter, this is how we're going to have to do this. So you'll see me looking over a bit at my notes and everything like that. I do apologize, but for those of you who are at home listening to this via the podcast, you're probably like, what the heck is he even talking about? So this episode here is really a bonus episode for my mini series on profitable pricing. And what I really wanted to talk about is something that I'm very passionate about, and that is, this whole idea, or debunking this idea, that you should be charging $10,000 for a logo, $10,000 for an illustration, $10,000 for a landing page design. Now, sometimes you actually probably should be, but the biggest misconception with this is that anyone or any designer, that regardless of where they are in their career, they should be charging these crazy amounts of money for things. Now, I'm not going to call any names of people out there who are talking about this, but a lot of content creators are promoting this myth that you should be charging a large amount of money for your work, especially when you're just starting out, which is complete and utter ridiculous nonsense. And everything. It's really something that you need to be careful of. And you have a lot of content creators who are promoting this idea. They're selling courses, paid mentorship, digital products, and things like that by telling you that by following this advice, you can charge $10,000 for a logo. It's utter nonsense. It's not true. In order for you to be able to charge that amount, your skill set has to match the pricing. And so in this episode, we're really going to be diving into this and talking through, what you should be doing or how you should be approaching things like this. I remember a while back, a friend of mine was taking a course that basically followed these same principles, where they were talking about, you should be charging $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 for a branding project, or that's how much you should be charging for illustration discovery and things like that for these major clients. And when you actually sat down and looked at who was being talked to about this, who they were, giving this information to or giving this feedback to, the skill set of this person, he had only been working in the field for a couple of years. So his skill set did not match the amount of money that they were suggesting that he should be charging for his work. That's not good. That's not what we want to see when it comes to people that we are mentoring, that we are trying to get better at this. And so we need to actually take a look at, what it is that we can do, to get ourselves to that skill set to where we can be charging in that amount. Now, let me just tell you this right now. I don't even charge that much usually for a logo. Like nowadays, I probably charge between $5,000 to almost $10,000 for a logo. But even then, I really hesitate to even charge that amount because I prefer to build out brand systems and brand toolkits and things like that. More expanded versions, not just a single logo. In reality, I think it's crazy to be charging that much for a logo. People like Aaron Draplin can charge that amount, but even he doesn't even charge that amount for a logo. Sometimes he'll charge a buddy $500 for a logo. So you really have to be cognizant of this and be careful about how much you are trying to make with your freelancing endeavors, especially if you are early on in your career. So what you need to do is you really need to assess where you are in your creative career, where you are in your skill set. I kind of divide things up the way that some design agencies will when they're hiring talent. So you have your students and beginners, you have your junior designers / novices, you have your mid-level designers, and then you have your senior level designers. And you can go even higher than that, art director, creative director level, things like that. But that's a good kind of level to see yourself at. So I've been doing design. I've been working in design for almost 20 years. I started when I was in high school. And so when I first started off, from the time that I started in high school up until probably about midway through college, I was still considered in my mind a beginner level, a student level. So we're talking probably 5-6 years of working in design, I still consider myself that student and beginner level. It was once I made it from college into my first job that I finally was in that junior level, novice layer level, and I started moving up from there. So it's like, even for myself, I look back at where I was, and there was no way, no matter what someone was going to tell me, no way that I was going to charge $10,000 for a single logo. It just doesn't make sense to me why someone would do that. And so what I want to do in this video is kind of stop you guys from overcharging or overpricing out your work. Because what's going to happen is you're going to completely price yourself out of the market, especially when there are hard times, when companies aren't necessarily hiring freelancers, or when work is very thin. You have to price your work accordingly. But in this episode, we're talking predominantly about the skill level phase of it. And so one way that you can kind of judge yourself on where you are is look at your idols, right? Look at your idols when it comes to design, whether it comes to illustration or lettering and things like that, and look at their work. Find someone you can idolize and you can say, okay, that person makes $10,000 for a logo. That person makes $10,000 for a website design or a landing page. That person makes $10,000 for a hand-lettered mural or something like that. But you find someone that you feel like would make that amount for the type of work that you're trying to do. So for instance, Aaron Draplin was someone I brought up. Another group of people I would suggest, or I would say at least that I look up to and they're good friends of mine, is Hoodspa, the Hood sisters, Amy and Jen. They definitely make more than $10,000 per logo. At least I hope they do, because they really do an amazing job. Let's see. There's a lot of different people that you can think of, and I'm sure that you probably are following these people that you can go through and you can really say, okay, this person is making $10,000. And I'll actually be honest with you, who knows if they're actually making that amount? But what you can do is you can look at the caliber of their work and you can say, okay, this is the $10,000 level. This is where, if I was at their level of work, this is how much money I would charge for a logo design, website design, illustration, whatever. All right. I am here. I'm at the base of that. There is no way that I am their caliber worth of work that I can charge $10,000. And the way, if we look at that same level tiered system that I talked about, student and beginners, junior designers, novices, mid-level designers, senior level designer, the people I've mentioned, the Hood sisters, Draplin, so many people like that, Brad Woodard, amazing illustrator, so many of these people, those people are going to probably be at that senior level for that. So those people can charge like $5,000 to $10,000 for a project. But if you're at the beginning of your career and you're a student or you're just starting off, if you're looking to create a logo design, in reality, you're probably only going to charge between $100 to $500 for a logo. And some of you might even be thinking, wow, if I can get $500 for a logo right now, that will pay, I don't know, that will pay for pizza for the next month or something like that. Or, hey, that can pay, half of my rent or something. So it's like things like that, if you're a student level, you're probably going to charge about that for a project. If you're at the junior level or the novice level, there you can probably charge between $500 to $2,000 depending on the project. And then if you go to the mid-level or associate level or whatever you want to call it, then you're looking at $2,000 to $4,000 per project. And it's not till you get to that senior level that you can charge the $5,000 to $10,000. So you can really see like the way that I'm kind of like expressing all this. And now there is a good possibility as a junior level designer, you could land a $10,000 project. But I can guarantee you it's going to be a lot more than just creating a single logo. So you have to consider all of these things. My first high level project, I think it was a $10,000 project. It was for illustrations. And it was creating, I think it was, 20 illustrations, 25 illustrations. We'll say 20. And so that would come out to $500 per illustration. So even that was still kind of like at that high-level beginner stage, low-level junior designer stage. And it was a project that spanned, I think, 3 months of just getting all these illustrations done. So 3 months where at the beginning of the project, I got $5,000 to start, and then I got $5,000 at the end of the project. And so you can kind of see here, like, the effort that goes into it is a lot more when you're at those lower levels. And I was even at like a junior level, maybe close to mid-level at the time when I did that project. So you can kind of see like how your skill set should inform the pricing. Now, when I got back into branding, I was at like that senior level, and I still did not charge a super large amount for branding projects. The main reason why I did that, I was rusty. So if you're going through here and you're like switching, like I went from illustration where I was only doing illustration work for about 2, maybe 3 years, to then jumping back into branding work, I was rusty. There was no way that I was going to be able to go through and just like make that jump and start charging a large amount for branding projects. I was charging like $2,000 to $5,000 for a full branding project where it was not just a logo, it was logo types, basically all logo configurations, typography, color, style guide, brand elements, mock-ups, all these crazy things. And so when you're doing that, like you kind of, when you're going back and relearning a skill set or refreshing a skill set like I was doing, you got to lower your pricing down. No matter if you're a senior level designer, sometimes you have to charge, the junior level or the mid-level pricing. So when you're going through and doing this, when you're pricing out your work, not just look at your skill level, but look at how much you have done or how much you have used that skill recently. Because sometimes you're going to have to go back and relearn or resharpen those skills. There's a lot of, bits and pieces here, but the important thing is to continuously learn and shape your skills. The more that you do that, the more you increase the value that you will give to your clients. So you want to make sure that you keep doing that. Take courses, look at YouTube. Even the other day, I was sitting there in the evening and I had my computer out while my family was watching TV. I was going through and I was practicing some of my illustrations and some of my branding techniques that I haven't necessarily used in a little while, because I want to get better and sharpen those skills so that when it comes time for a client that needs those skills, I'm right there. I'm ready. It's all about practice. You have to keep practicing at your skill set. The more you practice, the better you get, the more you can charge, the quicker you can finish projects, the faster speed you are and everything like that. There's so much, so many great things about doing that. So let's actually talk about, this is something that you heard me talk about in the intro, which is avoiding the trap of faking it till you make it when it comes to pricing. So faking it till you make it, that's fine. You can do that. I encourage it that you fake it to a certain extent, right? There's certainly times where you might have a project come in where you can do the work, but you may not have the work to show in order to land the client. You can definitely fake your way to getting to there. You can definitely fake your way into getting a job. But at some point, that is going to come back and bite you in the butt. It's going to happen. I've had it happen to me multiple times. I've seen it happen to so many other people. You have to make sure that you're not faking everything, that you're not, basically coming to a table where you're like, okay, this logo design is going to cost you $10,000. The value is there. I'm going to be able to knock your socks off with this and everything like that. It's not going to happen, right? If you are a junior level designer and you're going to a client who is going to pay you $10,000, they are going to be expecting $10,000 worth of value from that project. And if you come up to them with 3 concepts or 10 concepts that are all junior level designs, they're not going to be happy. I can guarantee you they're going to want to cancel the engagement. They're probably going to try and get their money back. They're never going to work with you again. And if anybody ever asks about you to them, they're going to say, stay away from them. Never go back to them. So faking it till you make it can get you in huge trouble, especially when it comes to pricing your work. So be very careful with that. There's a huge difference from faking it till you make it from the junior level to the mid-level. That is kind of okay. You can kind of get away from that. But if you're trying to fake it the junior level to the senior level, it's not going to happen. It's going to be very, very bad. Let's actually switch gears here and let's talk about something really quick. This episode is going to be a lot shorter probably than most of the other episodes in the series because this is a bonus episode. But again, one thing that I want to emphasize on is the importance of providing quality work and delivering the value to your clients. Just kind of like what I was just talking about there. Everything that you do needs to provide value to your clients. They are paying you money in order to do a service or to provide a product or something like that. So you need to make sure that everything that you produce, everything that you create is of the highest quality and is going to bring them value. Because what's going to happen is if you provide a client with a ton of value and you give them the best quality work that they could possibly get with you, with the money that they spent and everything like that, a few things are going to happen. They're going to come back for more later. They're going to love working with you. They're going to want to continue working with you in the future. And so what you need to do is you actually need to keep going at that. The second thing is that if they have any friends or any partners or things like that need to have similar work done or similar work to what you offer, you're going to be one of the first people that they suggest they reach out to. You need to make sure that the value and the quality of the work that you're putting out for whatever price point, even if you're at the student level, the junior level, the mid-level, whatever level you are at, provide quality work and quality experience and value in everything, because that is going to be what's very important to the client. And so the last little thing that I'm going to suggest here, and this goes back to, learning skills and improving and stuff like that, is always assess your skills and your pricing. So every 6 months, your skills hopefully will get better and better and better over time. Eventually, you might kind of like level out and plateau a little bit. It's just like with weight loss and exercise and everything like that. Same thing will happen with your skill set as a designer. You'll have to push through those plateaus, just like with exercise and diet and everything, as I need to do. But assess your skills and then go back and assess your pricing. I like to go through and reassess my pricing every 6 months to a year. And I also sit down and I'm like, okay, where am I at with my skill set? Is there anything in my skill set that's wanting? Is there anything that I need to go back in and get better at, learn more about, see what new techniques and skill sets and things like that are out there? I will do that. Just recently, one of my biggest skill sets that I need to definitely go through and get better at is the use of gradients. For years, I was so against using gradients. Everything that you ever saw from me was flat, didn't really have any bit of gradients in it or texture or anything like that. Now I've gotten to the point in my career where I realize, okay, gradients is something that's very important. It's something that I need to learn. It's something that I need to get better at. And I've gotten to the point where I am pretty good at using gradients. Am I the best? No, I am not the best. And so I know that I have to go in and get better at that and learn and practice. And so that's a skill set that I realize that I need to go back and do. At the same time, my other skill sets have been going up and getting better and better. My speed has gotten better and faster. And so that means that I need to evaluate my pricing as well. So I'm able to kind of like go through and figure all this stuff out. So just, keep that in mind and try and do that as best as you can, evaluating your skills, your pricing, and things like that. Try and do it like every 6 months, 3 months even, especially if you're lower in that level of skill set. All right, so in conclusion, here are 3 key takeaways from today's episode on skill level pricing. Number 1, assess your skill level realistically. It's important to recognize where you stand in terms of expertise and experience. Avoid overcharging and undercharging, especially undercharging. That's something we didn't really talk about, but undercharging by accurately evaluating the value you can provide to your clients at your current skill level and learn where to grow from there. Number 2, continuously invest in learning and development. Skill level pricing is not static. Focusing on improving your abilities, expanding your knowledge, and staying up to date with industry trends is very important. By consistently enhancing your skills, you can gradually increase your value and command higher pricing. And you don't necessarily even have to invest money into your skills. You invest time. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Go to YouTube University and you can find a lot from just there. Number 3, find the right balance. Striking the right balance between fair compensation and client satisfaction is crucial. Consider market demand, competition, and your own growth trajectories when determining your pricing. Aim to deliver quality work, build strong client relationships, and foster a reputation that aligns with your skill level. This is all very important and something that you should always try to do. These are 3 takeaways that might not necessarily combine everything that we talked about in this episode, but it's still 3 that you should definitely consider moving forward in your career. So that's it for this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to Design Break Podcast for more insightful episodes. And remember to check out the rest of the Profitable Pricing Miniseries, episodes 29 through 32, I believe. You can also check out our new YouTube channel. We have a new YouTube channel at Design Break Podcast. Just search that. We'll pop up. We only have a few subscribers right now, so definitely add to our ranks. Follow us. There's going to be a lot of amazing, cool content I'm going to be putting out on the channel weekly, as well as my own personal channel at Rocky Rourke. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to reach out directly to me on Twitter at Rocky Rourke. Your feedback is always valuable in shaping future episodes and future content with this podcast and everywhere else I'm putting out amazing content. So I just want to thank all of you for joining us for this episode. I look forward to bringing you more valuable content in the future. And please, as always, remember to stay passionate, stay positive, and stay creative. Thank you guys so much. That's it from me. Bye.